And see, this really brings us to what is really my only problem with skinny people. What the you guys doing? I tried to get life insurance the other day because I thought I had leukemia. Long story, we'll get to it eventually. But when I was filling out the forms, they had a weight section. I turned it in. They said, guess what, bud? You have to lose weight before we will give you life insurance because you're morbidly obese. But these fuckers, I did not see anywhere on the forms where there was a question. It was like, oh, do you and your buddy Blaine go out to the bluffs on Saturday? I don't know what that is. Is a bluff a crevasse? I don't know what a crevasse even fucking is. Do you guys go out there and paraglide with silk sheets naked, trying to mow the lawn of these hills with your bare asses? What the fuck? I don't understand how my lifestyle is dangerous. The only thing I'll do to this that's similar is the lazy river. And the only thing that's dangerous about the lazy river is you're gonna get pink eye and athlete's foot every single time. Ban skinny people.
Here's your reminder that fatphobia is rooted in racism. As always, if you haven't read this book, go do that. The main thing to understand is that for the last 300-ish years, white folks have been marketing fatness as a black trait. And this is regardless of whether or not black people individually were actually fat. That was irrelevant. The message they spread was that black women specifically were ravenous and uncontrollable, and these barbaric traits made them fat. On the flip side, thinness was marketed as a white trait. Again, regardless of whether or not individual white people were actually thin, that was irrelevant. The idea was that white women specifically were refined and restrained, and this led them to having delicate, thin bodies. Over the years, these messages have become more subtle, but even today, they are still very prevalent in conversations around race, health, capitalism, and poverty.
You know, I know you said we can't change our sexualities, but this comment made me want to stop being a lesbian. It made me want to stop being a Pisces, and it made me want to change my pronouns. It did, so thank you for that. And I think the reason that you think fat phobia doesn't exist, even though you claim to have been previously obese, is because you started your journey at 178 pounds. You never got even above 200. That's not obese. BMI is not real. I don't care if BMI says that. That's not obese. You wouldn't have experienced fat phobia anyway. I've experienced significantly more flack for being obese than for being a lesbian. Significantly. And don't call me a fellow gay anything. You're not my fellow. Gay people like you. The LGBTQ community is about inclusion and acceptance. You're not welcome. You're not invited to the party. So don't let the door hit you on the way out.
So I recently saw a considerably skinny woman with a visible thigh gap post a picture of herself in this bathing suit on social media. And I looked it up, and the biggest size it comes in is an XL, which measures at most to 31 inches at the hip. So this bathing suit is speaking about something I and many fat people have and have been bullied for, which is our thick thighs, yet it's not even made to fit our bodies. And you might say, come on, it's just a bathing suit. But this is yet another example of how fat people and the fat community have been pushed out and excluded from the body positivity movement. Now, I know thickness is trendy, but for those of us that carry around that thickness, it is far beyond trend. We are trying to fight the oppression of fat people. Fat people have limited accessibility in public spaces. Fat people are denied promotions and jobs simply because of their weight. Fat rape victims are less likely to be believed simply because they're fat. So it's not just a bathing suit, it's taking away the very narrative that fat people created.
It's 2022. Can we normalize having big breasts and not having to always wear a bra when you leave the house? I mean, because I don't know about y'all, but these babies gotta breathe sometimes. Happy New Year.
I just learned something new about fatphobia, and it's like kinder of disgusting, so I wanted to share it. 30% of fat bodies have type 2 diabetes, but 24% of thin bodies have type 2 diabetes. And you're probably thinking okay, but yeah, fat people have it, more often than I was on a date with a doctor last night, and he was saying that thin people are less likely to even go in if they're presenting symptoms of type 2 diabetes. Doctors are less likely to order tests to test the blood sugar levels because of weight bias, so it's actually estimated at least 10% more of thin bodies have type 2 diabetes, but they just go undiagnosed.
I hate to tell you this, but actively not wanting to be fat is indeed fatphobic. Also, your statement just indicated that people who work out are also people who do not want to be fat. Did you know that fat people work out without wanting to become thin? Did you know that you can work out for reasons other than wanting to change your physical appearance? The fitness and diet industry has absolutely perverted what exercise is and what it is good for, like mental health and cardiovascular health. The industry has brainwashed us into thinking that we can micromanage and control our bodies and exactly what every part of our bodies look like. Sure, you can control your body to some extent, but not through healthy means.
Instead of complaining about anything, learn to be thankful for everything.
Wonder when we're going to collectively get rid of our fat phobia on this app. I know it's never going to happen, but even though you might not necessarily be fat phobic, sorry, I was looking at myself in the mirror, I'm really pretty. Even though you might not necessarily be like outwardly fat phobic and body shaming other people, even if you do it publicly about yourself on the app, on any platform, to anybody, it is very fat phobic, and it's annoying. Because you've got fat arms, great. I got a whole fat body. Doctors don't take me seriously, and people don't take me seriously. But I'm glad you gotta complain about your fat arms, and I'm glad you gotta get an ass. Like, no hate to you, obviously. I don't wish hate on anybody. It's just annoying how casual fat phobia is just, like, accepted. And how you guys can be like, oh yeah, my arms are so ugly. But I would never body shame anyone. You just did. Anyways, bye. I'm pretty.
So, I love thrifting. I love finding clothes secondhand. I am also a plus size human. I am a size 16, 18, and that greatly reduces the amount of things that I can find in my size, right? Especially secondhand. Something that really frustrates me is straight size women, or people in general, going into thrift shops and purchasing up things that are extremely too big for them, when one, almost the entire store is catered to you, right? Like, you have a straight sized, small sized body. Like, there is racks upon racks for you, and yet you gravitate towards the plus size section that is like maybe a quarter of the size, and then you grab those up and like, oh, well, I can cut this to make this fit me, or, you know, like, it's really oversized, it's really big, but, you know, we'll make it work. Like, I don't know, just to me, that feels really shitty. That feels, I don't know, it bothers me. Like, it is a huge pet peeve of mine to see, like, size 6 people wearing size 16 things that they got from the thrift store and taking that away from people who struggle to find things in the thrift store. I don't know, is that just me? Is that...
Skinny is not synonyms of healthy. I am 26, and fat is not synonymous of unhealthy. I'm 26, and I exercise daily. I have normal blood pressure and cholesterol. Who knew, right?
Okay. Let me just... If you are skinny, if you're super thin, if you're mid-sized, if you're slightly
chubby. You don't know what it's like to really be fat, so stop calling yourself fat all the time. It really pisses me off and everyone else who is actually fucking fat. Me being 11 years old, and the day that my sexually abusive dad, who's a narcissist, decides to call my house phone and leave a message and say, I'm about to off myself and I'm gonna put that on you now, so you gotta deal with that. And while I was dealing with that, I ran outside my house to go to my best friend's. Well, then these teenage boys saw me and they came up in their car and they took something out of their car and it looked like a rock. Bitch, what the rock was doing in their car, I don't fucking know, but they threw it at me and my head started bleeding and they said, moo moo motherfucker, you a fat cow. I was 11 years old going through something traumatic, but because I was fat, nothing else but being fat, and I was assaulted on one of the worst days of my life. That's what actually being fat is. So please tell me about your mid-size woes. Tell me about your skinny girl woes, cause a bitch ain't gonna listen. I will all day long say body positivity for all body sizes, but do not try to get and understand the level of discrimination that fat women face, especially fat women of color. So shut the fuck up. Stop feeling the body positivity hashtag with mid-sized girls. Thanks.